Welcome in to a Friday edition of the CHGO Bears Podcast. Currently being double produced by both Stephen Nicholas and Gregory P. Allen Braggs. Braggs playing hurt today. We greatly appreciate him battling through from his palatial estate / garage. My name is Mark Carman. That's Nicholas Moreano. Neither of us were the NFL Rookie of the Week. And Bears fans are upset, Nick. We got upset Bears fans. And yes, we are going to touch. And I honestly, I got to say at the start here, I think he is my least favorite Bear of all time. And that is number 6, who got himself in trouble with the law. I think I'm trying to keep my opinions of Jay out of this as I was preparing for this conversations, but then it just dawned on me. I think he's my least favorite Bear ever. Hi, Nick. How are you?
I'm doing well, Mark. I'm looking forward to that conversation about Jay Cutler, who I actually ran into earlier this year in an elevator at Soldier Field. I was kind of like starstruck, but I was like, whoa, that's Jay Cutler. And obviously there's very different circumstances now, but yeah, lots to talk about. Bears fans are a little riled up here with the Rookie of the Week award, and I know that's where we're going to start, but it's good to see you look very, look clean shaven. I don't know. I mean, you're usually like this, but you look even more.
Well, thank you, Nick. After you put those pictures out on Instagram that I was tagged on and I wasn't supposed to share, and I just, I looked at you, I thought to myself, you know what, I got to step up my game. I gotta get the hair right. I did yoga this morning. I thought my downward dog was excellent. My pigeon from the ground. The reverse pigeon backside flipper that I was into today was excellent. So I feel great. I'm eating good food, coming back from London, so everything's turning around over here. Because quite frankly, I felt terrible after I got back from the London trip, even though it was the greatest trip ever. And Gregory, I believe Nick is doing what you're asking in behind the scenes here. Although maybe we could use some help.
It's sending. The tweet is sending. It should be sent now, and all is good in the world.
Yes,
Mark, there's this thing called private chat that the viewers cannot see.
Yeah, see, I don't think anything's private on this show.
Just read that and roll with the punches.
Hey, Greg, are you open for helping us in this first segment? You don't even have to show yourself. You can just you can help us out here. Are you willing to do that before I put you on the hot seat just a little bit?
Whatever you want.
Okay, great. So let's talk about Jayden Daniels and Caleb Williams. And I get it. People like to win awards, and Caleb, I don't know, played better than Jayden last week. I mean, Jayden lost. He was 24 of 35 for 269 yards. He threw 2 touchdowns, wasn't picked off, quarterback rating of 110. Braggs, is 4 touchdown passes that Caleb threw, is that more than the 2 that Jayden threw? Which one is more, 4 or 2?
Well, Braggs just walked away from his seat. I'll answer. 4 is greater than 2.
Thank you. Hey, Steven, what's greater, quarterback rating of 124.4 or that was Caleb 110.3? Which is greater, 124.4 or 110.3?
I'm going to go with the 124.
I think Nick, any arguments there?
No, it seems all right to me. It seems pretty logical.
One guy had 6 carries for 22 yards. The other guy had 4 carries for 56 yards. What's better, 56 yards or 22 yards?
56 is better.
56 is definitely more. I think if we did the math on that, I think that's 34 more yards, which that's a 14 yards per carry average to 3.7. I think that's significant. Right. My point, and by the way, is what's better, to win or to lose?
I think winning is usually regarded as better.
Right. So I get it. Jacksonville is not as good as Baltimore, and it on some level it's impressive, but there really is no logical argument to Jayden winning. And that's just the numbers, but I think the numbers speak for themselves in this case.
Well,
yeah, and that's why
apparently it's fan voted, right? So
right. Excellent point to bring up. This is fan voted, and if you go through Twitter, if you believe Twitter, which most times I don't, but I mean, there's people on there saying, like, I voted 3,000 times for Jayden Daniels just so I could irk Bears fans. That's great, dude. I hope you did do that. Honestly, that's an excellent use of your time. If there's nothing else important going on in your life to vote 3,000 times, I'm sure there's.
Shouldn't we be thanking the Washington fans for slamming the election box here and stuffing the ballot box? And now, we've got this upcoming game that kind of feels like a NFC rivalry brewing. And they give the award to someone that probably shouldn't have got it, and that's just going to give more fuel to the fire for Caleb.
Well, I think it just almost in a sense makes the award irrelevant. We just read off the numbers. Caleb played better than Jayden Daniels. Caleb did not win the award, yet Jayden got the Rookie of the Week award. Caleb was the FedEx Ground and Player of the Week. That's the NFL, and he won that, but not the Rookie of the Week award. So if anything, it makes the award irrelevant in terms of how you're looking at it. But yes, I do agree. Now this matchup coming up between the Bears and Commanders, it's that much greater. It's been flexed to the mid-afternoon. So it's definitely going to be something that a lot of people are going to be watching.
And for the record, what Nick just brought up, Caleb winning his first ever FedEx Air and Ground Player of the Week award. Shout out FedEx. You guys do an excellent job shipping products. And as FedEx wrote in the email that I received from them, thank you very much, FedEx, like to be on your mailing list. Caleb Williams, quote, who seems to be leveling up his game with each pass, won the award after completing 23 of 29 attempts. That's 79.3 for 226 yards, 4 touchdowns, a 124.4 passer rating in the Bears' overseas thrashing of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't know why I felt the need to read that, but it was just fun to read. It's the first ever FedExer for Caleb. Now, here's where I started to get in the weeds, Nick. Caleb hasn't beaten any good teams. Neither of the Bears, of course. They're all in this together. They've beaten Tennessee 1-4. Caleb was bad in that game. They won in spite of him. And then they've beaten the 1-4 Rams, the 1-5 Panthers, and the 1-5 Jacksonville Jaguars. The Bears have not beaten a team this year that's won 2 games. Is that concerning for you?
I mean, look, that they play who's on their schedule, Mark, but who's Jayden Daniels played? That's the same exact guy. I mean, look, the wins he's got: the New York Giants, Cincinnati Bengals, Arizona Cardinals, Cleveland Browns.
Fair, but I'm just saying from a Caleb is 60 for his last 81. All right. He's completing 3 out of his last 4 passes over the last 3 games. 3 out of 4. All right. I mean, not exactly the math there. I'm giving him a little bit of extra credit here, but this he started the year, his first 3 games, his completion percentage was under 65, and the first game was under 50. His completion percentage overall now is 65%, and he's been well over that in each game, 79 last week. So I'm just thinking, like, when you sit there and process where the quarterback's at, is there any part of you, Nick, that's like, oh, well, he looks a lot better, but he's doing it against the Jags, the Panthers, the Rams, so I'm not 100% certain that it's real? Or do you think, you know what, I'm watching the tape, this looks damn ass real to me?
Yeah, look, I think a good throw is a good throw, Mark, and we saw a bunch of good throws in that Jaguars game, so that's translatable from week to week. But look, those, when he's making let's say the interception, for example, that went to DJ Moore. It's a late throw, right? The interception that was late in the Colts game. It's similar types of plays, because Caleb said both after those interceptions after the game, he didn't put enough on it. Like, those types of plays will become more frequent against better team defenses if you don't make the correct throws. But from what you're seeing, what Caleb's doing to taking advantage of these bad defenses in the Panthers and Jaguars the last 2 weeks, like, you can't fault him for that. You can't fault Shane Waldron for dialing up good plays and Caleb Williams executing them. You do want to see, though, how it's going to look, week 11 against the Green Bay Packers, or against the Minnesota Vikings defense, or 49ers, got teams like that. But I don't fault them for taking advantage and putting up 30-plus points on those bad defense. That's what they should do, and they did it.
And to that point, by the way, I think the schedule is lining up as perfect as it possibly can be the way the season is unfolding for the Bears. we guessed that this would possibly be the way it would go, but let him get his feet on the ground the first 9 games of the year. Let him learn whatever lessons that he can possibly learn. And then he's battle tested, has played half a season, smart guy, processed it, new offensive coordinator, figuring out his way. We've seen that roller coaster ride. The Flus, still finding his way in the NFL as a head coach. First 3 games win streak for Matt Eberflus. Let's have some learnings against the Panthers, the Rams, the Jags, and let's up in class now. Let's go play the Commanders on the road. Big window, 325, the whole thing. And to what you were just saying, Nick, about Washington, Commanders haven't beaten anyone. The Commanders have beaten the 2-4 Giants, the 2-4 Bengals, the 2-4 Cardinals, and the 1-5 Browns. So the Commanders have not beaten a 500 team. They lost to Tampa and Baltimore, 2-4-2 teams. So it's a great step up in class here. You're not going to the top, you're going to the middle, and you have to do it on the road. So it's I think it's just like a perfect trajectory. And then you go on the road to Arizona, and then let's settle back in with New England at home, and then here we go into the division, and let's see what happens. So I mean it's like basically it just sort of feels like it's perfect the way this thing's going so far.
I have a live look at Caleb Williams when he found out that he didn't get the Rookie of the Week vote. Here it is right here. and I get fans are like, this is stupid. Like this isn't anything to worry about. 100%. It's all tongue in cheek. But it is building towards this moment here next week on a primetime stage, the 3:15 window, at 4:15, on the East Coast. So that means in the second half, it'll be one of those, like if you're somebody like me that you reminisces about some of those great 4:00 slates where in the second half, it's a night game, right? And now all of a sudden, you have kind of this buildup of like almost like a primetime moment. You're going to have Jim Nantz and Tony Romo on the call, Jayden Daniels and Caleb Williams squaring off for the first time. Both teams playing well. Neither have really beat anybody to this point, but at the end of the day, could become a rivalry. Like I said, you've seen Peyton Manning versus Tom Brady. You've seen, here in recent history with Patrick Mahomes versus Josh Allen, or Patrick Mahomes versus, Joe Burrow. And I think this is the opportunity for the NFC to have, 2 of these guys squaring off. And I just think that this is exciting, and we should lean into all of it, even if it's silly things like fan voting, player of the week stuff, because who knows? Maybe Caleb's like, all right, check, good. I'll show you who player of the week is here in a week and a half.
Wouldn't you rather it be this way too? Let's say the Commanders weren't playing well, and Caleb Williams was the front runner for the Rookie of the Year award. Like, there's nothing really to prove, and I know regardless, Bears fans are gonna be siding with their guy, but this does bring some more anticipation to this matchup that's already been flexed, and you're seeing 2 good young quarterbacks, and I think both fan bases can be excited about where their teams are at this point, and it's a good measuring stick for both teams. And look, the Commanders have faced, I think Cleveland is a pretty good defense, even though they've had a bad season, but the Bears have a good defense. That's going to be a really good matchup between Cliff Kingsbury, Matt Eberflus. See how that goes. And obviously Caleb Williams going up against a Commander. It's another defense that's very vulnerable to giving up a lot of yards, big plays. So we'll see how it all plays out.
We're going to talk about what we like about the Bears so far in this 4-2 year, and then we'll get to Jay Cutler coming up here. But I got one stat that I want to lean into as well coming back here, because that I do think matters and is a little bit concerning on the Caleb side of the Caleb versus Jayden thing here. But first, ladies and gentlemen, excellent pause by me. Here we go with our friends at CIRCA Sportsbook. Hey, shout out to them. Whether it's pro, college, they have to bet football on. You know it. You love it. CIRCA Sports Illinois. CIRCA Sports, the sports betting, the way it should be. CIRCA Sports Illinois. High betting limits, low holds, exceptional customer service. You can bet on all your favorite teams every game all season long. Do it before on the spreads, on the props. the futures. Do it in game. Play it as it's going along. Be that genius in the betting world. CIRCA Sports has it all for you. Fund and bet like a pro from anywhere, anytime in Illinois. Download your new bookie today at circasports.com. You got to be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Check out CIRCA Sports, and you also got to check out CHSN. We are sponsored by the Chicago Sports Network, the new home of the Blackhawks, Bulls, and White Sox games. CHSN will broadcast more than 300 live games per year across the Blackhawks, Bulls, and White Sox, and will feature a full lineup of original Chicago-focused sports content. And they're also Chicago-based, Chicago-built, and Chicago to the core. And they're bringing it to every corner of Chicago across our 77 neighborhoods and beyond. At CHSN, Chicago comes first. Visit chsn.com for more info on how to watch Bulls, Hawks, and Sox games all season long.
All right. So, Nick, where are you at with the amount of hits that Caleb's taken? I'll give you a trivia question. Who do you think in the NFL, if you haven't looked at the stats, leads the league in times sacked? Who's the most sacked quarterback in the NFL? That's a better way of saying that. Thank you.
Most sacked quarterback in the NFL this season. Can't give you a name off the top of my head right now.
Fair enough. And I wouldn't have been able to do it either. His name is Deshaun Watson, 31 times. All right. You know who's number 2?
Does he play in the NFC North?
Yeah, he sure does.
Does he play for our beloved Chicago Bears?
He sure does. So Caleb's been sacked 20 times. That's second worst in the NFL. It's too many. Now, I'm not putting it all on him. The offensive coordinator's got his part. The offensive line has got his part. There's plenty of blame to go around here, but it's too much, right? I'm saying this as almost a positive. My biggest concern with the Bears rookie quarterback after 6 games is I just don't want him to take that many hits. That's it. Mm-hmm. I love the way he's processing the field. I love the way he's handling being the guy in Chicago, stepping into it. I was thinking about that the other day, Nick. You are stepping into one of the top sports cities that there is, if not the top. God love you, Chicago. You're stepping into that spot in the most premium position that you could play in the market that has a history of patheticness. And you're taking that on. It's a lot. It's a lot to be willing to step into, which is why, if you rewind back, he doesn't want to go to Chicago. It's a terrible place to go. Well, of course, that wasn't true, but it still is a lot to handle. Like, that spotlight is big, and that part of it, he's handling it. So, but my biggest worry with him right now is he's taking too many hits. I think that's a good thing, but it's also like, please don't take too many hits, because if you get hurt, it's going to really, 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 really suck.
Yeah, and I think too, Mark, just kind of seeing how, if we split it up between the first 3 games and the last 3 games, a lot more of those hits were coming in that first 3 games of the season, where you're talking about the number of sacks that he's taken. 27 happened in Houston, which, I mean, he was hit like almost every single play in that game. 4 in the Colts game and 2 in the home opener against the Tennessee Titans. And then you look at the last 3, you have 3 against the Jacksonville Jaguars, 1 against the Panthers, and 3 against the Rams. So I think it took some time for Shane Waldron to figure out how to best utilize the weapons that he had and to get the best 5 offensive linemen out there, because they've also had a fluctuating offensive line. But you're hoping that after this bye week, there is a little bit more stability on the line, and that the Bears can just carry over what they've been doing offensively, to where you're not seeing Caleb take as many hits, or just get rid of the ball out quickly if something's not there. Like, you don't need to take a hit. What's been encouraging is, like, when he runs, he's not taking those hits. He's looking to kind of avoid it. If anything, he sat at the 50, right on the 50-yard marker at the NFL logo when he broke that big run against the Jaguars. Like, he doesn't want to take those hits. So I do like that. And then also you see later on in the game, he's lowering his shoulder near the goal line. So there's a little bit of a balance. But I think if the offense continues to trend in this right direction, where Shane Waldron's dialing up good plays, the offensive line's giving him enough time to block, Caleb's doing a good job of distributing the football and not taking those hits.
So it doesn't worry you like it does me, at least at times. Like, he's at one point, like there's one side of it, I'm super excited by it. gets out of the pocket super creatively, looks like he's going to get cracked. Now he's throwing across his body in the most athletic, super talented way to Cole Kmet, who's wide open, and Kmet's picking up whatever that was on that play, I think 27, walking down inside the 5. Like that's what you have to have that if you're going to be winning Super Bowls. Your quarterback's got to be able to do it. But I also see him like he's just juking around in the pocket. It's like, dude, you're about to get smoked. It's nerve-wracking. But so, he's used to being able to get out of it because he is that creative, and he's a guy that can hit the home run ball, so he's going to do it. I don't think it's going away. I don't know. It does make me nervous, if I'm being honest. Like, I'm sitting there like, get rid of it. Don't get hurt. Let's go.
Yeah, Eric Bochan in the chat, like the style of play Caleb plays with leads to take some hits, and I do agree with that.
Right.
It's different from how Justin, plays a position. Like Caleb's looking to survive in the pocket. He will extend, move around, and has a good feel for things, but that does leave him susceptible to taking some of those hits because he is looking to make the play if available. He wants to give his guys that are running routes chances. And that's going to be the give and take with Caleb Williams as he kind of navigates the NFL. Like, when is it time to give up on a play, and when is it time to take a chance? And that's the thing. That's what he was known for, though, Mark. Like at USC, he took chances, and you saw the big plays. And that was one of the things that, way back in June, Ryan Poles was talking about what makes him unique is like being able to be that type of playmaker, extend plays. So it's a give and take. And as long as Caleb Williams is willing to throw the ball downfield, I think that's going to be a part of his game. And I think you just have to live with it.
So, thank you, Adam Hogue.
I didn't notice that. Yeah.
Carman has a great background and a high quality microphone. What is happening? I really appreciate that, Adam. Thank you. First of all, part of my birthday present is this microphone from the Hoger, who, we had to crowdfund this thing. So, and Adam chose to contribute. And then, hey, I even put on my, you could soar to new heights by reading with MJ, because we're all trying to soar to new heights. And look, this is just fun today to, as we were, doing the Caleb versus Jayden thing. And I'm going back, and you pick anybody out there who's putting together a 40-minute montage of Caleb versus Jacksonville or Caleb versus anybody. You see him throwing with anticipation. And it's so awesome to see that when they freeze it, and this is what's happening right now. And he knows where to go with the football. He's got the conviction to put it there. And he's played 6 games of NFL football. I mean, it is as I think like Bragg said something along the lines of he started to cry recently, like he compared him to Derek's, like when you know you have that guy. And okay, fine. Like if you want to be on the slow roll of it, like let's see him do it against a really good team. I get it, but like the evidence is starting to pile up that you have him, and so it's a good thing.
Do you want to try that Jordan voice again? Bush Hog's not happy with you.
Straighten Jordan out, Carm. You are better than that. He's talking about he's saying the painting is so slanted. I can't deal with that right now. So, but Bush Hog.
I muted him for all those that don't want to hear that.
Nobody doesn't want to hear it. There is no one that doesn't want to hear it. Go back to your cave. But I might need you at some point here, caveman. All right, Nick. You wanted to discuss this segment is kind of yours as far as what do you like about the Bears right now. So I feel like I need to give you the platform here and just take control of it. What are you liking right now? What's on the Moreano notes list that you're just going to fire to the people?
Yeah, so one thing that I want to bring to people's attention, and we're going to start defensively because a lot of the talk is about Caleb Williams in the offense. And I get it. There's a lot of excitement there. We were just talking about it. But when we're looking at this Bears defense, one thing that I think has really stood out to me and just watching, how they've been playing through the first 6 weeks is like they'll give up some yards, like the whole bend, don't break mantra that they have. But just looking at via True Media, great site for getting all your stats there. But just looking at the red zone efficiency stat, Mark, which I think is a very important one when it comes to winning football games. The team right now that, when you have the offense rolling in the right direction and a defense right now that's what number, I think it could be even a little lower. So it's not as great as I thought it would be, but number 7 in the league at 43.8% red zone efficiency rate. That's going to help you win a lot of football games, Mark. So you can give up all these yards downfield, but for whatever reason, whether it's somebody making a key stop, a big play on third down, the Bears just force teams to kick field goals and keep them out of the end zone. It also helps too when you're the Jaguars and you basically drop 4 touchdowns from wide receivers. But it's a stat that if that continues through the rest of the regular season, as you're going to face, the NFC North opponents, a Commanders team that likes to put up a lot of points, that stat right now through 6 games is looking pretty good of what this defense can still continue to do, but also how it will help put teams in a advantageous situation to be in games, even when the offense maybe isn't clicking or scoring. The offense is not going to score 35 plus points every week, everybody, but knowing that you have a defense that's going to keep, for the most part, opposing offenses out of the end zone, that's going to keep you in a lot of games. So when I was looking at just some of the stats, that was one that really popped off as one that is really encouraging after 6 weeks of the NFL season.
I love that underlining, and let's just remind everybody it's October the 18th. Okay. Shout out to my amazing niece Grace Carman, who turns 18 tomorrow on October the 19th, as she's on her way to be dominating on the college soccer circuit. So you recruiters out there, hit me up if you want just an absolute supreme athlete with great grades who's looking for the best opportunity on the D1 level. Happy birthday, Grace Carman. My point is that a month from now and one day, November 19th, that'll be 1 year. And if the Bears hold it, the last time they gave up more than 20 points in a game was November 19th of last season against the Detroit Lions. Long way of getting there, Nick. But, it's just they've been consistent, and they've gotten significantly better since Montez got here. And now, things to like. Did we know that Gervon Dexter Sr. was going to come out of the gates this year and have as good of a start as he's had? No, we did not. And he's just been, a huge impact in the middle of that defensive line. So that's been great. And everything else has kind of stayed basically consistent, right? Mm-hmm. Darrell Taylor's been a good pickup. That's shout out Ryan Poles, 6th-round pick. Well done. His impact has been a little bit intermittent, if you will, but still solid acquisition, depth piece, playing roughly half the snaps, all these things. So, the defense, a lot to like there. You know what's also to like?
What, Mark?
And look, I wish David Montgomery was still here. Shout out David Montgomery, contract extension, Detroit, all the things, deserved it, winning player. But DeAndre Swift you're seeing why they brought him here.
Mm-hmm.
You are seeing a guy that can break big plays off for you and is creative in space. And I think a lot of us, myself included, were very worried that this thing somehow was never going to get off the ground in Chicago for him. It looked that bad. 13 carries, 19 yards, multiple weeks. The guy's, beside himself in the locker room. You were there, Nick, right? This was an unhappy guy. Now he's unhappy because he gets the ball down to the 1 yard line and they bring in Roschon Johnson. That's a lot better unhappiness right there. It's been a good progression for DeAndre.
Yeah, in the first 3 games of the season, Swift had a total of 114 yards. In the last 3 victories alone, 404 total yards and 3 touchdowns. So complete 180 from how Swift was playing, but it's good to see that he's now a part of the offense.
And by the way, I don't think it's going to be I don't think he'll be the most consistent week after week back, but he'll just keep on popping up and having big days. All right. Jay Cutler's coming up next year. Shout out to our friends at Ray C. DJR. Adventure is calling. answer it this October by shopping the new low prices during the Jeep Adventure Days. It's going on right now at Ray Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Stop in today and browse their huge inventory of new vehicles. And right now you can shop electric savings like 0% financing for 72 months on the new 2024 Jeep Grand Cherokee 4xe and the Wrangler 4xe models. Or there are 125 vehicles priced under $20,000. If you're in the market for a new vehicle, you got to check out our favorite team at Ray Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, because they are the only team that we recommend. Visit them today on Route 12 in Fox Lake. For more information, visit RayCDJR in Fox Lake or raycdjr.com. Serving the community since
1963.
That's exactly right, Nick.
Of course, we love Ray CDJR, and we also love Miller Lite, and a lot has changed over the years, my friends. One thing that hasn't, the great taste of Miller Lite. Another thing that hasn't changed is that it's less filling. So what is the best thing about the original light beer? Well, I mean, again, less filling, great taste, and Miller Lite really sparked this debate in 1975, and they just haven't settled, just again, there's nothing better than Miller Lite. When I think about having good times with the guys, there's usually look at this, a Miller Lite in hand with the Bears bye week. I get to stay home, watch some NFL games. I'm pretty sure Miller Lite will be in hand as I'm watching all the NFL games and not watching the Bears play this week. But again, it goes back to the great taste, less filling. That's what Miller Lite has to offer. And Miller Lite, it keeps it simple, undebatable quality, great taste, only 96 calories. Miller Lite is the official beer of the Chicago Bears. So you don't have to choose what's best. Miller Lite has great taste and is less filling. Tastes like Miller time. To get Miller Lite delivered to your door, visit MillerLite.com/CHGO football, or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories per 12 ounces. Fewer calories and carbs than premium regular beer.
All right. I will be opening up the chat line here for people that are with me on this. Who wants to join me in just anointing Jay Cutler as your least favorite Bear of all time? Jay Cutler, back in the news. I shouldn't even put a smile on my face because it's a sad story, really. But it's 5 p.m. Jay apparently, I'm guessing, might have been looking down at his fine Instagram, maybe his outstanding post that he's got going on there, whatever he was doing. And minor collision, but that's not a good scene when you are rocking the bloodshot eyes and you got the strong odor of alcohol on you. So arrested, happy hour time, Franklin, Tennessee, downtown Franklin. And now he's facing charges of DUI, illegal possession of a gun while intoxicated, implied consent, and failure to exercise due care to avoid a collision. They also found 2 firearms in his vehicle. One of them was a loaded pistol. Way to go, Jay. He had a rifle. The dude's driving around with a rifle and a loaded Glock pistol. Now, I'm not from Franklin, Tennessee. I live a different life than this, but that just seems, I got tennis rackets in my car. I got a pair of golf clubs. This guy's going, he's going, let's get hammered. Let's rear end somebody. Oh, and I got a loaded gun and a rifle behind me just in case, like a deer comes across the way and I'm going to shoot that too.
Not great, Mark. Not a great look for Jay Cutler.
One gun in the car is enough. How about just one? How about a one gun in the car situation?
Yeah, no, look, that's why we have Uber. There's so many ways that we can get home nowadays without having to get behind the wheel, especially after having, a couple of beverages. So it's not a good look. It's a terrible look and irresponsible by Jay Cutler. And to do that with all that, like you said in the car, like it just, again, you gotta be smarter than that, Jay. Come on.
Well, and let's everybody knows that you shouldn't drink and drive, and everybody, by the way, probably has had a drink once or twice and got behind the wheel. So I'm not going to be here from the high pulpit. But I was thinking this. Let's just say, for example, Nick, you are in Franklin, Tennessee, and it was 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and you were on a vacation with, your lovely bride to be, and you guys are hanging out, and all of a sudden, just a little bump to the old rear there, and here it is. It's Jay Cutler.
Oh,
and
shit.
And he's drunk, and he's got guns in his car, and he sees you, and he offers you, like he did this fine person, hey, let's not call the cops. I got $2,000 for you. 2,000. I mean, there's no damage on you. You don't even have to fix that little nick in the back of the thing. Do you think in that moment that you would have taken the $2,000 from Cuddy that he offered that this person did not? You would have said no? This guy said no and went to the hospital and complained about a bad back. He's
okay. I don't think I'm doing that. I don't think I'm going to the hospital complaining about a bad back, but I mean, if I have my fiance in the car, that happened. I know, look, for me, I liked Jay Cutler growing up. I liked watching him play, but that was a long time ago. And it's, what if it's a rental car too? I have to explain that to the rental car agency. I've had some issues with rental car agency. So that little ding could be a lot more than 2,000. I don't know. So I wouldn't take the money. I would have to, we would have to get the cops involved. I'm sorry.
All right. Well, okay. So all right, let me take the rental out of it. So let's just say let's say it's Nicholas Moreano's University of Iowa. Did you have a car at Iowa?
I did not. Nope. Walked around everywhere.
What was your first car?
Did you have some... First car was a minivan named Walter.
Okay. And I assume that was a hand-me-down in the Moreano family that you okay. So this thing was worth $2,000? Maybe.
Maybe.
Right. I mean, my first car a little bit earlier than you was a light blue Dodge Aries that my wonderful Aunt Ev that I think my dad bought off my aunt for $1,500, and that's what I drove around in my high school years, and did nothing in. But so, let's make it that car, Nick. Jay hits you, and how about it's and now maybe even Jay's playing for the Bears at this point. Hey Nick, let's not get the cops involved. Here's $2,000. Just let's let this go away. Now Nick, even young Nick, that you're putting that dude back on the road with his bloodshot eyes and his guns and whatever else he's doing. Are you doing it? $2,000. Or would you be smart enough to say, Jay, you're going to have to kick down a little bit more for my Iowa education. I need about $10,000 right now, Jay. 2,000. My whole point is 2,000. Jay, be smarter than that on every level. You are in trouble right now, dude. It's worth way more than $2,000 to you, mister. You made $1 zillion in the NFL. You should have offered 20G. This is a nightmare for you. He offers $2,000. What a loser. Braggs, please comment on that, by the way. $2,000? Get out of here, 6. That might be worse than his entire attitude. $2,000.
Yeah, no, again, not a good look and just irresponsible. And I just think that obviously probably not even in the states of maybe even negotiate the right price, $2,000. Yeah, this sounds about right after, hammering some beers at, 5 p.m. So yeah, it's a bad look, and you could have gotten people actually hurt. It's like he was just a little bump or whatever it was. So yeah, just not good.
It's vintage, Jay. Hey man, I'm sorry. Here's 2,000. Which, yeah.
Mark? Did you get to cover Jay at actually in the locker room at all?
So I did. In the Cutler era, I probably went out to Hallis. I would be sent out there once a week or something like that with WGN at the time. But I also was, I also worked at Kansas City in the middle of his tenure here, so I wasn't around him a ton. But and I had one interaction with Jay where I was, covering something I was covering the national championship game with Joe Burrow and Trevor Lawrence, whatever year that was, down in New Orleans, and with Fansided. And Jay, I went to an event, and it was by Dos Equis, and Jay was sponsored by Dos Equis, and he was the bartender there. And Jay Cutler, I put the video out a bunch of times, served me a beer that day, and he asked me if I wanted a lime, and he put the lime on top, and the whole thing. It was like I had a moment with Cuddy, and that was fun. I also sat next to him at that game in the same row, like 4 seats away. We didn't say a word to each other. Now I was letting Jay do his thing, but I was never, when he was here, I did not like his leadership. I didn't like his attitude. When he was great on the field, he was great, but when he was bad, he was bad. I didn't think you could win with him. And when McCown was rocking and rolling, I'm like, don't go back to this bozo. This guy, Josh McCown's throwing 20 touchdowns in 1 interception as a Bear. Leave him in there. He's better in that locker room. And he was a winning player. So I admittedly, I was never a Cuddy guy.
Yeah, I think it's just so at the time, the Bears just didn't have anybody other than McCown that was even at his level in terms of what he could do on the football field at the quarterback position. So that's why he's such a polarizing figure. Yes, he could throw the 4 touchdowns. He can easily throw the 4 interceptions. Like that's what it was with Cutler for me. That's why I always had this, I guess, fantasy that he could take the Bears somewhere, right? Because it was just so much better than what they've had at the position. And who knows how the NFC Championship between the Packers goes if he doesn't get injured. Like, you never know, but it did happen. He did get injured, and I think he was 51-51 in his career. I think that's the stat, right? Like he was perfectly 500.
500 quarterback. That's right. Which is exactly what he was. But a very talented 500 quarterback.
Yeah.
It does underline, I think a good way to end this is just underlines. Think about what they had then with Jay. Incredibly talented, rifle arm, saw the field pretty well. Let's see. I mean, sure, he would try to force balls, but I wouldn't call him a dummy. I wouldn't also call him the hardest working guy. But regardless, now who do they have? Oh, they've got a guy who on his phone, his goal is to pass Tom Brady. They've got a guy who absolutely wants the spotlight of that position and is focused on being as great as he can and also being a leader. They like Caleb Williams. I would bet a lot of money that Caleb Williams will never embarrass the Bears off the field. This is it just feels like they got a first-class dude as the face of the franchise versus when they had that. If that, I mean, come on, it's there's just a huge difference between those two, and just also a reason why, like, oh my God, this is why you're getting flexed into the Sunday window, because you have this guy, and they're just starting and it's a beautiful thing, Nick. It's a beautiful thing.
It is, Mark. It just, in terms of like the locker room aspect, like we're talking about leadership, like Caleb the Cutler, it couldn't be any more different,
right?
Like in terms of how Caleb is learning to get to know people and is, different leadership styles for different guys too. Will adapt to the guys. I don't know how Cutler, obviously the reports on Cutler, what he was like in the locker room, but yeah, completely different. So you factor all that in. It is a beautiful thing, Mark, to have a guy like number 18 back there at the quarterback position for the Chicago Bears.
All right, let's wrap up with this, Nick, because you just teed it up. Sunday, you just get to watch football, buddy. How much do you love the NFL, Nick? Like, do you love it enough that at 8:30 in the morning on Sunday, you're going to be wide awake for the 1-5 Patriots and the 1-5 Jaguars back in London? Are you doing that?
I'll definitely be up. I'll probably be at the gym, to be completely honest. And since I have no fantasy implications in that game, I I'll definitely tune in. It'll be on the TVs at the gym, but I don't know if I'm going to be really engaged with that Jacksonville Jaguars team. But it actually, you know what? I'll take that back. The Bears will be playing the Patriots, obviously, in a couple of weeks. So watching and see what they're doing on the football field could be a reason why I'm actually tuning into that one. So yeah, it will start bright and early, 8:00 to kind of consume that game.
All right. More importantly, we'll get to the rest of the schedule in a second. But I appreciate your I mean, I might be cooking breakfast and have it on, but that's not happening. But first, before we get to the real schedule, shout out to our friends at ZBiotics. Yes, indeed. this is the game changer. If you're planning on going out drinking this weekend, give yourself the pre-alcohol boost that you need. It's the surefire way to wake up feeling fresh after a night of drinking. So if you do want to wake up at 8:30 and watch the Jags play whoever I just said they're playing, that just the Patriots. You want to do that and feel fresh and you're going out Saturday night, do yourself a favor. ZBiotics will get it done for you. The pre-alcohol drink it's the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. This is the good stuff invented by PhD scientists that are smarter than me and you. It's there to tackle the rough mornings after drinking. This is what happens. When you drink, the alcohol gets converted into the toxic byproduct. You don't want that in your gut. It's the byproduct. It's not dehydration that's to blame for the rough day. So pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. That's why you want to make ZBiotics the first drink of the night for you. And yes, we kept hearing about pre-alcohol and wondered what it was actually like. And now we've all tried it, and we're believing the hype. And with their GMO technology, they will release different products that will help address toxic byproducts of modern living in the gut. Go to zbiotics.com and insert the code CHGO Bears. zbiotics.com/CHGO Bears to learn more and get 15% off your first order when you insert the code CHGO Bears at checkout. ZBiotics, backed with a 100% money back guarantee. So if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they will refund your money, no questions asked.
Jay Cutler probably could have used some ZBiotics. But yeah, no, ZBiotics is great. It's also great, you guys. PXG, and I actually have one of my clubs here. I'm always looking to improve my golf game, hit the ball straighter, further, not having to worry about trying to hit everything perfect to make a good shot, all of it. So I went to get fitted at the PXG location in Northbrook. My guy Luke, he hooked me up, gave me so many pointers throughout my fitting experience. It was a lot of fun. And he taught me a lot about the sport that honestly I didn't know much about because not much of a golf guy, but now I can definitely say that I've been converted. And I have to tell you about the Black Ops irons. And again, that's what I have here in my hand, shiny and makes you actually good when you're not. But PXG delivers a breakthrough in-game improvement with new PXG Black Ops irons. PXG's Black Ops Irons Challenge has had over 1,200 entrants so far, beating the competition in distance or dispersion with a current win rate of 100%. I would say that's pretty good over there to have 100% rate there. But you can upgrade your bag with PXG clubs and take your game to a whole new level for a limited time. You can actually save $10 per club. Head over to pxg.com/CHGO and use the code CHGO. That's pxg.com/CHGO, code CHGO to save $10 per club on your order. pxg.com/CHGO, code CHGO.
All right. Wrapping it up here. We got a division matchup, Nick. Noon kickoff. The Minnesota Vikings, 5-0. No one thought they would be. And the 4-1 Detroit Lions. Do you think that the Vikings are good enough to get the Lions at home? Without obviously Aiden Hutchinson, and that was just a violent, brutal, terrible injury. Exactly right. Who do you like in that one?
Oh man, I mean that's a really good game. Yeah. No, it's I think the Vikings will continue that winning streak there, Mark. And I know the Lions are obviously on a roll too, but as a Bears fan, who do you want to win? The Vikings or the Lions? Like where's your, I guess, rooting interest if you're looking at both those two teams?
That's fair. That's a good question. I guess I want Minnesota to get a loss. They're at home. So a loss at home. I mean, I can go either way on it. Am I more afraid, like long term, of Detroit? But the Vikings defense looks real to me. And it's also like I'm not necessarily shooting for winning the division here. I'd love to see Minnesota start out hot and then all of a sudden just come roaring back to the pack. That would be a good start to that losing at home. So I guess upon cross examination here, I would rather see Detroit win the football game.
Let's stick with the NFC North. I mean, you have also the Texans and Packers. For a noon game.
And that's Green Bay's a 2.5-point favorite. The Texans have lost one game all year long. Great quarterback matchup, obviously. CJ and Jordan. I like Green Bay to win the game. I do.
Okay, I like Houston. Since Jordan Love coming back from that injury, handling the blitz has been a little bit of a murky area for Jordan Love. So, and we know
nasty
Houston,
last week.
Yeah, that's true. Houston does like to bring the blitz, as Bears fans can remember to Caleb Williams. But I want to see again how the Packers kind of handle that, and just see again how that all shapes up.
Well, and this is also, when you're starting to look at how this is going to shake out, the Bears already lost their game to the Texans. So anybody who beats the Texans this year, they've got that's a one-up on the Bears. So there's no doubt that we're all rooting for the Houston Texans in the game. But I don't know, Packers are playing good football. Any other games? I think it's great just looking at the schedule that the Commanders are playing, even though they've got Carolina. Let's go Panthers. Let's show something that you haven't been able to show so far, and let's push Jayden Daniels. Let's get a little Bruce situation going on. And then Sunday night, apparently we're not going to get to see Justin, but we will see Davante Adams of the New York Jets. Which, by the way, I wanted to ask you. We didn't talk about it, and I got blasted on this show as I normally do for saying, I'd be interested there's this guy out there that's going to be traded for not a whole lot. That's one of the greatest wide receivers in the history of the game. His name's Davante Adams. We got traded for a 3rd-round pick that could be moved up to a 2 if you end up in the AFC Championship game. That wasn't a whole lot to give up. And he also reworked his contract. I understand the Bears weren't ever in on it, but you're telling me that 3rd-round pick?
Yeah, I mean,
come on. They just wanted Keenan Allen straight up for him. That's what they wanted. Anyway, we get to see Davante and Aaron come back together.
It feels like a desperation move from the Jets, but we'll see how that again works in their favor against the Steelers and Russell Wilson. Obviously, like the Steelers were. They won. I thought they played offensively. There's obviously room for improvement. That's why Justin Fields will not be starting. But how do you think it when you see that Justin most likely won't be the starter in that game? Was it fair? We haven't watched it. To be fair, too, we haven't been tuning into every single Pittsburgh Steelers game, but
yes, Greg.
As of right now, Mike Tomlin said as of an hour ago, says he's decided on a starter, but that decision is remaining in-house. But then George Pickens was being interviewed in his locker room and said he's been putting in extra work with Russell Wilson after practice more than usual because, quote unquote, this is his first start. So George Pickens might have slipped through the cracks there a little bit. So, I don't think we've talked about it at all this week, guys, but obviously, Mike Tomlin had a pretty strong opinion about, guys that he's looking for great, not just good.
Yeah.
And so I just am curious of your guys' opinion on Justin Fields. I think being the first quarterback to ever be benched at 4-2 in like the modern football era or something like that. Like I think I saw that stat earlier this week. Regardless, he's 4-2. I think he has 1 turnover and now finds his way to the bench, and kind of in the same kind of criticisms from evaluators and his own team that he was finding himself in last year.
Well, I mean, Justin's saying this himself. Like, look, if I had played better, there wouldn't be any conversation right now. I mean, last week he was 14-24, 145 yards, a completion percentage under 60, stacked 3 more times. He's been sacked, a bunch here, 16 times. And he's been exactly who he is. He's got 1 game over 300 yards. He's got a 200-yard game at 245 against the Chargers. And then everything else, 145, 131, 117, 156. I mean, it's just been this is what it is.
Yeah, Mark,
that's
what it is.
I do agree with you too, but I don't think this is the end of Fields this year for Pittsburgh, but they want to see if they can hit a higher note with Russell.
And look, it all comes down to how much they're scoring, right? Those individual stats that you just mentioned are, good and great for Justin, but like you win the first game of the year 13-6, 20-10 victory over the Chargers. a 27-24 loss against the Colts, 20-17 loss against Dallas, who just gave up 40-something points to the Detroit Lions last week. And then you win 32-13. So it was a good offensive output that day for the last game. But individually, Justin did not put up the numbers. So in the end, it's like if Pittsburgh thinks that Russell Wilson unlocks a new part of the offense that will allow them to score more points, and that's what it's going to be, because they have a good defense. You don't have to score much. You just got to take care of the football. But ultimately, when you play some of these better teams, you're going to have to put up points. And just from that sample size, what Justin Fields had, it just obviously wasn't enough.
Well, for me, like when Fields said what he said at the locker, like you said, Carm, where he's like, hey, I needed to play better, and that's why I'm not going to be starting this week. Like, I honestly feel bad for him because, why? Well, I do, just because he got put in a great situation. Poles traded him to a team that he wanted to go to. Mike Tomlin, it felt like a good fit. He wasn't going to get the starting job initially, and then he kind of fell into it. He couldn't have really asked for a better start to his season. Pretty much turnover-free football. I mean, obviously, he could have had statistically a little better, but turnover-free football, winning football. You know, they go 4-2, and then he gets benched again for the same reasons why he ultimately lost his job here in Chicago, and the Bears opted to go to Caleb Williams. I get the reasoning 100%. At the end of the day, the tape is the tape. But like when he's talking, he sounds so defeated. And this is a guy I think who had obviously some pretty high expectations for himself in this league. And now he's, being put, he's on his second team. Now he's sitting the bench over there in what he thought was a good situation. And he'll probably be on his third team next year, when this season runs up with the Steelers. So, it's just one of those things where I do kind of feel for him.
I got a little insight, just talking to some people in Pittsburgh about the genesis of trading for him. And my understanding is that Mike Tomlin really wanted Justin and believed in him. And so, the Steelers general manager was willing to do it for, sure, I'll give up a 6th-round pick and he plays. And you're right, then okay, fine, I'm willing to pay a 4th-rounder for him, Omar Khan. But this was Mike Tomlin believed in Justin. Mike Tomlin's making this decision. This is not like,
yep.
So he's, and I thought I love Mike Tomlin. I think everybody does. The way he said it, look, he's been good. I'm trying to get to great. I'm not saying he sucked. He was good. Russell Wilson, when he's at his, he's trying to level it up.
Well, and then my other thought here as we start to round third and wrap this show up, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to take any victory laps too hard, because I'm all I care about is Caleb Williams versus Jayden Daniels here in a week and a half. But where we were from week 1 and week 2, where there was a lot of people taking premature victory laps. See, they should have kept Justin. Look at this, that, and the other. And, he's now in a good situation, and the Bears, that's exactly why he shouldn't be here, because they screwed him over. Well, he gets benched by the Steelers. He played better, as good as he possibly could have, and it's the same result. So I think ultimately all of that rhetoric that has been going on for the last 7 months, and a lot of arguing, a lot of infighting between Bears fans about what's what between the right decision on what the Bears should have done at quarterback, I think it's completely put to bed now when you consider what Caleb Williams is doing here in Chicago and what he did in London, and where Justin Fields is at now, back on the bench, despite the fact that he started 4-2. So it is what it is. We all hope for the best for Justin. I know I certainly do. Maybe some don't, but at the end of the day, not rooting against him. Still would love to have that 4th-round pick. Doesn't look likely at this point. Want to remind everybody real quick. Make sure you become a diehard here at CHGO Sports. Go to all CHGO Sports. Go to allchgo.com/diehard to become one. A lot of great stuff. Get a free shirt right out the gate, including our new design here, the Claws Up shirt. So make sure you hit up and become a diehard. You get a shirt, get discounts on our events. We've got a tailgate coming up as soon as we play the Patriots. Home game, not for a few more weeks still, but you can come to our tailgates at the corner of Wabash and Cermak for every single home game. Go to allchgo.com/events. Again, if you become a diehard, you get a discount on those events. You get, obviously exclusive content that Nick and Mark and Adam put out, written content that's exclusive to you. So a lot of different things at your disposal when you become a diehard. So that's my spiel for the day.
Why do you have scissors? I have a golf club. You have scissors. What's going on this show?
I really don't know. They were here. I did a little trim.
That's
on the
why
back.
I got off the screen, because I got scared.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I was trying to, become a diehard. Thank you for everyone who supports us. We greatly appreciate it, and looking forward to hanging out with a bunch of diehards or whoever is coming to Arizona in a couple of weeks on that True Fan Travel Extravaganza. Yes, and are you bringing the clubs there, Nick?
I don't know. I mean, I'm really bad, but it might help me because it's PXG golf clubs, and
Well, however, yes, you're at least 10% better because you have PXG.
Very true.
And you can't help the fact that you're new to the game.
There you go. That's a good way of putting it. Before we close out the show, Mark, I need to give a shout out. I think this was on the show that Adam and I did. Apologize to R Lee 33498. He gave us a super chat. I don't believe we read his super chat on the show, so I just want to give him a shout out and thank you, R Lee 33498, for the support and just for supporting us here at CHGO. So just wanted to make sure I got that off before we close things out.
And shout out to everybody who super chatted today. Thank you very much. We will see you on Monday. Enjoy the football. Anybody who's going out to Northwestern tomorrow in Wisconsin. Yes, did he just grunt?
Greg, you okay back there in the heavens?
I forgot I wasn't backstage, and then I coughed. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Outstanding contribution. We'll see you. Anybody wants to say hi tomorrow at good old Jacob Martin Field at Northwestern Medicine Stadium, the brand new show, the brand new Wildcat football for the next 2 years. Come on, say hi. I'll be milling around over there.
It does look nice over there, right?
It's
It
nice.
does look nice. Should I take Stephanie to that? Who are they playing? What is it? Northwestern?
Wisconsin. You should not.
No, never mind.
You're an Iowa Hawkeye. You should come out for hoops. That's what you should do. Thank you, Eric Bochan. You too, Pizzatola. Great show by you. And
it's his icon.
I mean, it's actually it's better than he's now being positive. It's a positive Pizzatola versus he didn't feel the need to say anything negative about me. He just implied it, which was brilliant. Robert Lee, you're the man. Thank you all for watching. Appreciate you. And Hogue back on Monday. Everybody have a great weekend and good luck to the Houston Texans and whoever you want to win, the Lions and the Vikings. Shout out to the great Caleb Williams. You will win the Rookie of the Week award, and we will vote for you till death do us part. We will. Greg Braggs' next job of the zillion jobs he has is to sit there and vote for Caleb all week long when they get back on the field against the Commanders and take it to Jayden. All right, Nick, see you, buddy.
Bye, Mark.
Have a great weekend.
We all silly like the mayor.